Hi everyone, my name is Leila and today I want to talk about my most complimented fragrances. First of all, I want to say that most of the compliments I get from my family members, from my relatives, from my friends, and it happens very rare that I get compliments from the strangers, probably because it's not very appropriate here in the Middle East. But when I get the compliments from strangers, most of the time, I get them back in my home country, in Baku, in Azerbaijan. So I want to start with the oldest fragrance in my today's list. It's my very first fragrance. It used to be my signature one. I used to bath in this fragrance when I first purchased it, and I fell in love with this fragrance also in a trail. The lady who was going to the wedding party, she sprayed it right in the office. I fell in love with the trail. She passed me by and I fell in love with the trail of this fragrance. And I made a wish. I made a wish that I couldn't afford that fragrance by that day. And I made a wish that when I get the place, a very desired place in one of the biggest at that time in my country, offshore construction companies, and I start earning money, I will buy the biggest size bottle of this fragrance and I will bath in it. So I did, and that's the fragrance that I got lots of compliments. I'm talking about Intuition by Estee Lauder. This is the old formula. This is an old bottle with a drop of the sun, and this is indeed a drop of the sun in a bottle because this is a very invigorating, happy and very beautiful, classical, timeless fragrance that I think is very modern, like it's timeless. I can still wear it nowadays. This is the mixture of orange notes on the top, like a very citrusy notes like orange, grapefruit. It's a lot of gardenia in the middle and lots of amber, very warm, very sunny amber in the base. That's why I think this fragrance is perfect for wearing year-round because during summer it refreshed me a lot. During autumn and winter it warmed me up. So as I said, I was bathing this fragrance. Poor my colleagues, they suffered, I think, because this fragrance is quite strong. And but they always complimented me. There was one compliment that I got from one man that I remember the most. He came to visit my boss. He passed me by, and on the way back, he said, "I noticed you have a very beautiful fragrance. It's adorable. I love it. Can you tell me what is the name? Because I'm very into fragrances. I have my own collection, and I want you to give me the name of this fragrance." So I gave him the name. He said, "I never heard about this fragrance and I'm going to purchase it definitely." So that was I think the biggest compliment I got for this fragrance when people ask me, when someone, especially a man, asked me to give him the name of this fragrance. And all my family for many years, including my husband, my sister and everyone, they associated me with this fragrance. And my sister even said, I love this fragrance on you, but I tried to wear it myself and I realized that it's like I'm wearing someone else's dress and it doesn't suit me. It's not for me. It's definitely for you. It's gorgeous on you, but I cannot wear it. So that was Intuition by Estee Lauder. By the way, I also have a new formula in a new bottle. It's also very beautiful. It's a bit different, but really nice. The next fragrance is very interesting. It's a fragrance that is very affordable. It's a cheapie, but I must admit it's of very good quality, and I got compliments from two people within one day. This is Ajmal, and the fragrance is called Raindrops. And you see it's a very simplistic bottle. This is very similar, this fragrance is very similar to Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel. But I would say I prefer this one to Coco Mademoiselle because this one has less patchouli, and even patchouli it's different. It's not the Chanel's typical patchouli that unfortunately is not my type of patchouli. I love patchouli. I adore patchouli, and I have all type of patchouli in my collection, I think. I'm a big patch lover, but for some reason the only patchouli that I cannot stand is the patchouli of Chanel. In this case, This is a very beautiful fragrance with patchouli, with everything that Coco Mademoiselle has, but I think this is fresher. This is much fresher, this is younger. It has a decent longevity and especially projection. And I believe this is why I got so many positive feedbacks about this fragrance. First, it was my relative that I went to visit. She is not a type of person who gives compliments about fragrances. She's very picky. It's very interesting that her mother's signature fragrance is Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel. She wears it for a long time already. When she smelled this, she didn't recognize, she didn't put any connection, any links between these two fragrances. She asked me, "You smell really good. What is that?" And I told her that this is the one. I said, don't you feel any similarities? Don't you smell that it's similar to Coco Mademoiselle? She said, no. And I'm very happy. She said that it doesn't smell exactly like Coco Mademoiselle. Then her husband came. He also asked, look, you have a gorgeous fragrance. What is that? Again, I said, this is very cheap fragrance from Ajmal. It's Raindrops. And I ended up gifting this fragrance like a new one. I ordered and I brought with myself next time because she loved it so much. So this is really nice and very affordable dupe of Coco Mademoiselle. Let's say it's an inspired fragrance that, again, I like much more and I prefer to the original one, because again, it's fresher, it's younger. The patchouli here are less annoying, let's say so, for me personally. Probably you enjoy Coco Mademoiselle, just do it please. I don't want to offend anyone. I just, for myself personally, I find this one less harsh, less mature. I have a couple of versions of Coco Mademoiselle in a tester bottle. Coco Intense, the black bottle, Coco Noir. None of them are for me. The only one that I really love is just Coco, just classical Coco. And again, this is my personal Coco Mademoiselle that I really love. And by the way, the sillage of this fragrance is really beautiful and it's quite long. I can tell it because I sprayed it on my linen shirt and I hung it right outside, and every time I passed that place where it was hanging, I smelled the trail of this fragrance and it was gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's a perfect, I think, spring and summer, well, all year round, I would say, fragrance. The next fragrance is also very cheap and I bought it 3 years ago when I've just started my channel and I wanted to try everything, and I was surprised that I loved this fragrance a lot. And I still, even after having, tested lots and lots of complex, very high quality, different niche, very expensive fragrances, can say that this particular fragrance, being a dupe or inspired fragrance, has a very high quality for a very affordable price. This is a fragrance that is inspired. You can guess by this bow and ribbon. You can understand what fragrance it was inspired by. Yes, it's inspired by La Vie Belle, by Lancôme, and it's called Aqua di Paris Venizia by Reyane Tradition. And this fragrance, as I said, is very similar to La Vie Belle, but I would say it's even better because it has a fresher top notes. It is not that dense and thick and overly sweet like La Vie Belle. And behind this top notes, you can smell all the other layers. That's why I prefer this fragrance. It's very interesting that my husband, when I bought this fragrance, and I had many others, I had one shelf at that time, only one shelf. Now I have lots of shelves, but at that time I had only one shelf, and he said, you always buy some complex fragrances that I don't like. They're so strange, they're so weird. What are they? He started sniffing them one by one, and when he reached this one, he said, oh, I like this one. Yeah, this one is nice. This is the only nice fragrance that you have. So, and he loved it when I was wearing it. He complimented me many times. And the other person who is a stranger, I would say, was my driving instructor. When I wore this fragrance when I sprayed it, and after 15 minutes I left the house and I was driving. She was sitting next to me. She said, "You smell gorgeous. What is that?" I told her the name of the fragrance. I said it's a very affordable one, and I even brought her the decant of this fragrance so she can try it on herself. So I think she ended up ordering this very inexpensive fragrance from Amazon. By the way, I ordered this from Amazon, and I must say that this is a very long-lasting fragrance. Like, I would say the performance is almost the same like La Vie Belle. And quality-wise, again, this is a really, really good quality for this price. Surprisingly good quality. The next fragrance is also the fragrance I got a couple of compliments, and I think they all are well deserved, because this is a beautiful and amazing woody vanilla fragrance. This is Nishane Ani, and if you don't know, I think this is one of the best citrusy woody vanillas that I have ever smelled in my life. It's gorgeous. It's also very optimistic, fresh from one side and sweet from the other side, vanillic, woody, very woody. But it's a light wood, it's not a dark wood, it's not like a furniture, like polished furniture type of wood. No, it's very fresh, freshly cut type of wood. So I got a compliment from one taxi driver. He was a very polite man. He came to pick me up, and when I sat in the taxi, he said, "What is this? This is an amazing, gorgeous fragrance." And another compliment that I gave to this fragrance when I smelled it from my sister. She sprayed it in the bathroom of the restaurant, and she went back to her place, and then I went to the same bathroom. I did the same route, and all the way from here to there, like, and back, I could smell this fragrance in the sillage. Sillage was, you know, beautiful, amazing. And that's when I said that, you know, you smell gorgeous, because she had this fragrance on her. So Nishane Ani is, I think, one of the best, again, combinations of wood, vanilla and citrus. And again, I think this is a fragrance for year-round. Probably someone will say it's too sweet for summertime because it's very vanillic. It has loads and lots of vanilla. But I could easily wear it during the summertime. It never choked me. It never was too heavy. I loved it. I loved it on me. I loved it on my sister when I smelled it in the trail. Gorgeous fragrance, very long lasting, and the performance is amazing. The next fragrance is from my home country, and probably the most probably will not be able to find it anywhere else other than in Baku, in Azerbaijan. And I'm very proud that such beautiful fragrances are available in my country and are made there. So I purchased it in two or 3 years ago, and I already used quite a lot. This is the brand is called İydə, and the name of the fragrance is the 7 Beauties. This fragrance is devoted to one of the poems of a very famous Azerbaijani poet, Nizami Ganjevi, and it's called 7 Beauties. And this fragrance is a beauty itself. It is all about rose, but this rose is very citrusy and candy. Like, it's a candy note mixed with rose, very red, deep red, sweet rose. It's a jammy rose, mixed with lots of citruses on the top. And in terms of performance, this fragrance is a monster. Like, it spreads and it fills the room completely. And I got the compliment from nurse. She was a nurse of the dentist, and I must admit, probably I oversprayed this fragrance that day, because she could smell me from the distance. And she told me, "You have a gorgeous fragrance. What is that? Can you give me the name?" She also shared that she loves Montal fragrances, and blah blah blah. We had a talk. We spoke about that, about fragrances, and she was very surprised that, you know, this is our local fragrance. I again got compliments from strangers back again in my home country, when I went to the resort, and the lady who was our neighbor in the cottage we were staying, she sent her mom, she sent her mother to our cottage to ask what is the fragrance that I use, because she said it is so beautiful, it's lovely. She even wrote the name and asked me to show her. And again, I was so proud that this is a local brand. And the performance, as I said, is really monstrous. This fragrance is really strong and really, really loud. And don't overspray, especially if you visit dentist. This is not a good idea. The next fragrance is called From Hate to Love, and this is the fragrance from Amouage. It's called Bracken, and frankly speaking, I love the bottle, but I don't know why it's this peachy coral color. It's supposed to be a very green bottle, because this fragrance smells very green. This is all about fern, like it's a fern jungle, like a definitely, indeed, it's a Bracken jungle. It's like fern, leather, sunflower seed oil. I can smell here, definitely, not refined one. And I love it. It has a bit of chamomile. So it's very interesting, very unique, like all Amouage fragrances. However, when I first gave to smell this fragrance to my mom, she smelled it from the bottle. And she said, oh no, just take it away. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like this type of fragrances at all. She's more into candy, vanilla, sweet type of gourmand fragrances. I said, okay. Next day, I sprayed this on myself before we went out. I was passing by her and she said, what is this beautiful, fresh, green fragrance? What is that? I said, that's the one that you hated. And you said, please take away it from me. She said, really? I'm so surprised. And she liked it, and all the way when we were walking outside, she enjoyed it, she loved it, she could smell it from me, and she complimented me. And after a couple of days, I noticed that she used this one, and she said, yes, you know, I started enjoying it. I understand the beauty of this fragrance. And I was very surprised. I think this is the biggest compliment to the fragrance. So Amouage Bracken is really challenging, not for everyone. It can be very polarizing, and you can say, no, it's not my cup of tea from the first time, but give it a time. It can grow in you, and most probably you will end up loving this fragrance. It will not be your favorite one, I think, from the whole Amouage fragrances. However, it will definitely take its own place in your collection and in your heart. It's a beautiful one. It has a bismuth performance, so be aware, don't overspray. And the next fragrance is also from Amouage, and this is also quite a polarizing type of fragrance. But I love it, and I loved it from the first sniff, not like with Bracken. I loved it the moment I got it. I bought it blindly, and I don't regret. This is Imitation. Beautiful, beautiful bottle. It has a gradient of green to the purple, pinkish, like it's amazing. It's really beautiful. And the fragrance is really interesting because this is a mixture of blackcurrant with aldehydes, with some sweet notes, like candy-like notes, but the aldehydes are so strong, and this fragrance is so cold. It reminds me of the juice of blackcurrant juice, very cold one, or blackcurrant candy, but still very cold one, because the aldehydes here are very prominent. They're very obvious. You can smell it, like it has that metallic aspect to it, like a metallic blackcurrant with sweetness. It's gorgeous, especially in the sillage. In the trail, this fragrance is adorable. It is quite challenging, and I've never expected that my 10-year-old son will give me a compliment on this fragrance. He said, "Mom, you smell amazing. It smells so sweet and gorgeous and beautiful." This is what he said when he smelled this fragrance from me. And I think this is like this is very important because 10 years old boy, the one who loves most of the time, he prefers some gourmand fragrances. When he complements such a challenging fragrance, it means this fragrance is really beautiful in sillage. It shows, I think kids, they are like the voice of the crowd, because they like quite crowd pleaser type of fragrances. I wouldn't call this fragrance crowd pleaser. However, again, in the sillage, the Most Propolis fragrance is much better than when you smell it directly from your skin. And it's true. I strictly advise you when you spray this fragrance, give it some time to develop, to marry it with your skin, and only after that smell it, because in the beginning it's very strong. However, again, it somehow reminds me cola as well. It has some vibes of cola. It also reminded me very strongly, it reminded me of my sister's fragrance. She used to wear Karma by Lush a lot. Somehow it gives some Karma vibes to me as well. So it's very unique, very beautiful, very loud fragrance. It's one of the loudest fragrances in my collection with the longest possible trail and sillage. So be careful with this fragrance. And I wear it year-round. Even if the weather is very hot outside, I still wear it because it is so metallic and so cold that I enjoy it a lot. Another compliment that I got from my son, I got it to this fragrance. It's Lolita Lempicka Green Lover. And every time I wear it, every single time my son comes and he tells me, "Mom, you smell so good, you smell like a cupcake." And this is so beautiful, really easy to wear, I would say. Fresh, fizzy, green, but at the same time very vanillic, boozy fragrance. It's boozy because it has the London dry gin vibe. It gives me the London dry gin vibes mixed with the ginger ale. It's very refreshing, at the same time very sweet, as I said, but very transparent. It's not thick, it's not heavy, it's not dense. It's very airy, and it lasts long. It really does, and it's quite a cheap one. It's not an expensive fragrance that I highly suggest you to try. It's perfect, I think, for all year round. Again, it's not like only for summer or only for autumn. No, I'm wearing it even when the weather is very hot outside, because it's very fizzy, because it has that cold drink vibes. Definitely, it's green, it's fresh, it's minty. It has mint aspect as well. So nice one, and quite a unique one, I would say. Next fragrance is from Bottega Veneta, and this is not Absolue. I got compliments for this fragrance from my relatives. They visited us, husband and wife. They were sitting in the garden, and I sprayed this fragrance, and I went down, and both of them were like this: "What is this smell? Is it you? It is so beautiful. Can you show me what is that?" And I had to bring the bottle, and I showed them the bottle. They loved it. And my sister also loves this fragrance. So it's a beautiful yellow flower, like it's a huge bouquet of yellow flowers. It's very autumnal, it's very warm, it's a bit sweet. It's quite similar to Poème by Lancôme in terms of the character, the type of the fragrance. They're not similar in terms of the way they smell, they're quite different, but it has the same message. Amazing fragrance, smells very expensive, and gorgeous. It's a really gorgeous, it's quite heavy, I must admit, so I think this is a perfect fragrance for the colder seasons if you are into yellow flowers. It has lots of raisins as well. I think it has opoponax. It smells a bit raisinous, a bit probably just a touch of balsamic notes, a bit sweetness. It has a bit of sweet notes, but it's a floral sweetness. Lots and lots of yellow flowers. Gorgeous fragrance. It's really long lasting with a beautiful sillage. Also the performance is amazing. It's an intense version. Another fragrance that I got a compliment from my sister. I never thought that she will tell me the same thing that I noticed about this fragrance. This is Nicolai, Parfums de Nicolai, and this is Patchouli Intense. This is my favorite cheaper fragrance. And this is, for those who don't know, this is like lavender, geranium, rose, and lots of patchouli. They're a bit soapy, they're very green, fresh. This is a fresh fragrance. This is a completely different type of patchouli. I don't have anything like this in my entire collection. This is a very different type of patchouli. I was wearing this fragrance when we were walking together with my sister outside. She was like an arm length from me, and we were walking, and then she said, "You smell gorgeous." And I don't know what is that smell, but this smell reminds me of something. I don't know what. It reminds me of my childhood. What is that? I told her that this is Patchouli Intense by Parfums de Nicolai, and she said, there is something very familiar. And I told her, what do you think? Does it remind you of Magie Noire by Lancôme? She said, yes, that's the one. When I tested it in the store, I was given 12 or 15 fragrances to try on the blotters. This one was very first, and I kept smelling others, kept putting them back, telling no, no, no, keeping this one, the blotter with this one on my other hand. And I said, this is the one that I like. But when I came back home, I couldn't stop sniffing it. Then I put it on in front of me, and then the shocking thought came to me that I smell Magie Noire in this fragrance, the fragrance that I loved in my childhood. It was my mom's fragrance. And I realized that this is very similar to Magie Noire, and I straight away, went to the store, to the online store, and I bought the full bottle. And I don't regret, because this is a gorgeous and amazing fragrance. Very, very long lasting, by the way. And very loud, so be careful. This is the one that my husband loves on me, and he keeps complimenting me again and again and again and again and again. He always, when he sniffs this on me, when he smells it, he always says, "Is this the one?" I said yes. I say yes, and he says, I love it. So this is Gold Couture Fresh from Moschino. Lovely mango, I think rhubarb, fruity, a bit floral, a bit sweet, a bit powdery, I would say, like a bit dusty. I can smell there. Nice fragrance for when you go somewhere on the seaside, probably in the hotel. It is not serious at all. It's very young, useful. Highly suggest you to try. It's really good in terms of quality, and the price is really affordable. The next fragrance is the fragrance that I show every single time, and I know you're already tired from this one. It's Burberry Rhythm, but I have to mention it because I gifted this fragrance to my cousin, and I never expected that she will, be crazy about this fragrance. But after a couple of months, she sent me a message telling that, I love this fragrance. I'm obsessed with it. It's adorable. It's so beautiful. I'm wearing it every single day. What I love about it is that it's fresh, it's powdery, it's so beautiful. It's like out of the shower, fresh fragrance that lasts and lasts. This is very important. And she said, what is also surprised me even more is that my teenager daughter, she always criticizes everything that I wear, all of my fragrances. She never likes anything, but she loved this one. She loved it so much that she's wearing it, like she's stealing it from me every time. So thank you so much. It's gorgeous. For me, this is a perfect compliment, I think, because sometimes, teenagers are very picky, choosy, and they even criticize our tastes, but even teenagers like this one, and I think it's worth to mention this. So Burberry Rhythm is a beautiful, fresh, powdery, out of the shower, I would say, like laundry fresh type of fragrance. Crispy clean. It has lots of lavender, it has iris root, it has aldehydes. So altogether beautiful, musky, fragrance. And the last but not least for today is the fragrance that I get compliments from all men, members of my family, from my husband every time, from my son. They love it. This is Narcosis by Vertus. And it is really beautiful, and you cannot stop smiling when I cannot stop smiling when I smell this, because I think this is a beautiful concoction of coffee and fruits, and in particular this is mango, probably peach mixed with coffee, with dark notes, with some green notes, and all together people who know how the cannabis smells, they say this is very realistic cannabis fragrance. However, it doesn't have any cannabis in the notes, but it definitely imitates the fragrance. I'm not an expert, I've never tried. However, people who did, they say it's very realistic. So if you're looking for something like that, I would suggest you to try. And even if you are not into cannabis, but you like a very polarizing but very interesting, unique, but at the same time very pleasant combinations of fruits and coffee and green notes, I would highly suggest you to try this one, because for me this is something new, something that I have never ever experienced before, and it creates wow effect in me, and every time I use it, and especially the first time. And the same effect it had on my sister. When she smelled it, she said wow. But I must admit, this fragrance is very controversial, and it's like a love or hate type of fragrance. Some people love it, adore it, like I do. Some people hate it. So I'm in the first group, you know, I'm lucky. It's very long lasting, it's very, you know, it has a huge sillage, and it's beautiful. It has a long projection, so be careful, don't overspray, but it's gorgeous. And I guess that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my today's list. If you did, as always, I will be very, very happy, and I will appreciate a lot if you support my channel with your likes. If you enjoy the content here, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Don't forget to press that notification bell to be notified about the next release. I try to publish videos every Saturday. If you have fragrances in your collection that you get lots and lots of compliments every time you wear it, or probably not every time, but quite often, please let me know, because it's very interesting to know what kind of fragrances you get compliments on, because it's not always the same. I noticed that there are fragrances that people say I always get compliments when I wear it, and when I wear it, I never get one. So it's, you know, a paradox. So it will be very interesting to read your comments. Please let me know what are your most complimented fragrances. I'll be very happy to know. So if you are interested to visit my Instagram, please do so. It's different, I've changed it. If you followed me on my previous Instagram, please this time follow this one, and I'll appreciate it again. So as always, I want to wish you a great weekend, an amazing week ahead, full of positive thoughts and vibrations, and I hope to see you in my next video next week. See you. Bye.